So let us start, because we have 1 hour and a lot that we want to tell you today. My name is Elsa Scholte. I'm the Global Communications Manager for Solidaridad and your host for today. A practical thing, once more, please mute your microphone. Best view is presenter view, so you can always see who's talking. Apart from myself, let me introduce a few other people in this meeting to you. We have Shatadru Chattopadhyay. He's our Managing Director for Asia. We have Winston Asante, our technical expert who knows all about cocoa in West Africa. Andrea Olivar, responsible for strategy and quality in South America and overseeing our global coffee programming. Rodrigo Castro, all the way from Brazil, our country director there. Owen Hughes, you will hear that name every now and then because he's in charge of the technical arrangements for this meeting. And last but not least, Jeroen Douglas, our executive director. So thank you all for joining this meeting. We have invited you to this meeting because we really need you as Solidaridad. As companies, you play a crucial role in creating more fair and sustainable economy. You are a crucial cogwheel in our whole strategy. So, and we're very happy to have you here. You are within your companies probably leading the way towards sustainability. And the fact that you're here and participating in this meeting already shows that you're committed to the same goal that we are committed to. It shows that you care. And we are very eager to introduce our new strategy to you. But before we do so, let's see who we have around the table. And we have a short poll for that to see a little bit about from which region you are, what kind of company you work for, and what kind of position you hold. So you should see the poll now in your screen, and please fill it out. You have only a few seconds to fill it out, so be quick and vote. I think you have 40 seconds, so you have 20 more to fill it out, but it goes fast. So I already see a lot of people from financial institutions, traders, much more than we had in our morning session. We have like 36% traders now. Oh, it changes while we look at this. In a few seconds, you will be able to see the results as well when the poll is ended. So we have quite a few others, but we have 26% traders, consumer goods companies, also well attended, few retailers. If you look at the positions, a lot of sustainability staff, yeah, you are the ones leading the way in your companies, but also senior management and board members. So very happy to have high-level people here. And let's look at the region. A lot of people from Europe, 40%, but also North America is quite well represented, much more than in the morning session, which makes sense because it's your morning now. South America, and a bit less from Asia, which is also natural because we had a lot of Asian participants in the morning session. So nice to see this overview of who's all there. But we've invited a few other people to this meeting, and those are the farmers, because as Solidaridad, we're all about farmers first. So we like to introduce a few of the farmers that we work with to you as well in this meeting. So Owen, maybe you can introduce them to us.
Sou Carminha Gato Nício e sou uma brasileira que carrego no meu DNA há mais de 130 anos a expertise da agricultura. Sou a quarta filha entre 10 irmãos e aí era preciso criar novos desafios. E foi quando meus pais buscaram onde ampliar a produção e migraram para o oeste da Bahia, aonde estamos hoje, produzindo grãos, fibras oleaginosas e toda a espécie de alimentos que é possível na cadeia produtiva do agro.
Mi nombre es Orfagilei Pajoy, vivo en el centro poblado de San Andrés de la Plata, Huila. Soy mujer cafetera por tradición.
Kwa majina ni Ann Kiola, kwetu ni hapa Kiadumo Village in Kirinyaga County. na ile kazi nafanya ni mimi ni kalani ya kahawa na pia nalima kahawa yangu.
Dengan Ibu siapa, Bu?
Dengan Ibu Nera Ferawati, Pak.
Oh, Ibu berasal dari mana, Bu?
Dari Dusun Maung Darat, Desa Maung, Kecamatan Ketungan Hilir, Pak.
Oh, kalau pekerjaan untuk saat ini apa, Bu?
Pekerjaan saya saat ini sebagai sekretaris desa dan di samping itu saya juga sebagai petani sawit, Pak.
Petani sawit ya.
Iya.
Thank you. You may have noticed that despite the fact that this is a random group of farmers, they are all women. So we didn't specifically ask for that, but I think it's a good reminder to all of us that a large number of the farmers we work with, or when we talk about them, are actually women. There's another question that I like to ask you, and I like to use the chat for this for you to answer this question. So if you go to the chat, you can maybe answer the question, what does sustainable production mean to you? So from your perspective, what does sustainable production mean? And I'm very curious to read your answers on that one. So just go to the chat. If you can't see it, it's maybe hidden under more. There's a chat function, and there you can give your answers to this question. And of course, we asked the farmers the same question, but let's first hear your perspectives on this. Future production is still possible with best practices, says Ariel Zorilla. Yeah, so it's very much also about giving a future. 3 pillars: economic, social, and environmental. Yes, takes into account all costs and benefits. Long term, yes, definitely beyond our own generation, holistic view. Okay, very nice to see these answers coming in. You can look through them, but meanwhile, let's see at what the farmers had to say about this.
Berkelanjutan menurut saya itu adalah mengedepankan aspek lingkungan dengan cara tidak membakar, mengurangi pupuk kimia dan harus menggunakan pupuk organik.
Buscamos desde sempre trabalhar com sustentabilidade. Nós temos a terra, que é a nossa principal ferramenta de produção, é ela que nós temos que manter sadia. Para que isso aconteça, é preciso que se faça plantio direto sobre palhada, é preciso que se otimize manejos que reabasteçam o nosso aquífero e que sejam acessíveis a todas as demandas da produção agrícola e da cadeia produtiva.
When I'm in sustainable farming, I produce coffee, and I also educate my children to continue practicing coffee farming in order to be stable in their lives. Not only to my children, but also to the environment around me, including animals. Because when I cut banana stalks, I feed them to my cows. I have intercropped with like the Napier grass. I used it for dividing my shamba, and I use that Napier grass to feed my cows. Then cows produce manure, which I put here. So, sustainable farming is good to me.
Estamos en la finca El Triunfo, consta de 9 hectáreas. En ella tenemos 2 hectáreas en reserva natural, hay nacimientos de agua. Y pues aquí la familia se preocupa mucho por proteger el medio ambiente, porque la naturaleza siempre esté viva en nosotros y que cuidemos todo nuestro planeta. Nosotros en la finca aprovechamos los residuos de la cosecha para fertilizar nuevamente el suelo. Nos preocupamos por no gastar tanta agua.
So you see that the farmers have a bit more practical view on what sustainability means for them in their lives. It's a thing that they daily do. But I really like what Ankiola says, that sustainability means a lot to her. And the next question we would like to ask you via the chat is, what do you see as the biggest challenge for the years to come? So I think we're pretty aligned on sustainability, the fact that it's important, but what do you see as the biggest challenge for the years to come? Because if it was simple, we would have had it already probably. Living within the boundaries, the biggest challenge for the future. Yeah, regarding sustainability. What is difficult? What will be the challenge? Economic viability for farmers, says Camilla. That's a good one. Sustainability in terms of quality. Yeah, net zero emissions, reversing nature laws. Yeah, answers are really coming in now. Climate change, yeah, definitely a big one. Yeah, I see a lot of challenges that we have noted too, and that Jeroen will no doubt also come back to in his presentation. But let's again look at what the farmers had to say about this.
Kendala dan tantangan yang kami hadapi adalah sulit mengubah kebiasaan tradisional membakar dengan cara tidak membakar. Yang kedua, masih dilakukan tanam tinggal.
Pienso que los caficultores, para ser más sostenibles, debemos adoptar nuevas tecnologías, tener variedades que resistan a las enfermedades, que acatemos recomendaciones que nos dan los técnicos, también que nos ayuden con los precios, que dependemos siempre de eso.
This area we experience a big challenge of climatic changes. It changes now and then. To me, means farming a continuous way of farming, whereby which is also profitable to human life, not only to me, to even my siblings and everybody around me.
Kami berharap adanya kerjasama antara petani mandiri dengan perusahaan untuk memutus mata rantai tengkulak.
Então, não basta que nós, produtores, que somos o coração dessa cadeia, estejamos, de fato, operacionalizando de uma forma segura. É preciso que toda a cadeia esteja aliada e de mãos dadas, formando essa grande aliança para que a gente possa estar minimizando os custos da alimentação e dando a segurança alimentar para o mundo da maneira que o mundo precisa.
Well, that was definitely a clear message to all of us in the value chain. So let's cooperate. And that's something that we will do starting, well, we always do it, but at least today we're here together. So that's a very good thing. I hope you enjoyed this little tour around some of our farmers, but you've come here also to hear more about our strategy. And that's why I want to give the floor to Jeroen Douglas, our Executive Director. Jeroen, can you tell us a little bit more about Solidaridad Strategy for the coming years?
Sure, Elsa. Thank you for organizing this, and also thank you all for taking your time to be part of this workshop online from many parts of the world indeed. So this is a workshop very much directed to the business community. And that's why I can say that business indeed can be a force for good, as long as its purpose is not merely to make money, but to serve the community and satisfy societal needs sustainably. It is not how we spend the money, but how we make it that really matters most. So transforming business in a force for good obviously requires properly valuing the impact of your company on natural, social, and human capital. We know that our economic system over the last decades, and maybe even longer, has failed to do so, and instead was obsessively focusing on short-term financial gain. Yet, as we are gathering here, I consider ourselves the new generation, and we all know that financial prosperity can only be short-lived if it comes at the expense of our social systems, of human health and on nature. There are two drivers, I think, nowadays that forge new decision-making norms that properly value nature, people, and society. So we have the rapid pandemic, the COVID-19, and we have a pandemic in slow motion, which is the climate change. So in a business context, the balance sheets, your daily bread and butter, from now on, need to account for the social, for the human, and also the natural capital alongside the cash. If not, we will together be unable to overcome both pandemics. So in the rapid pandemic, we need to get the global food system back on track. Green and social supply chains can only thrive on a healthy natural ecosystem. And only then we can include, and we must include, smallholder farmers, their workers, local community, food security, biodiversity, and the climate. It all needs to be part of the new balance sheet of any modern company that cares for sustainability. Yes, business is becoming much more difficult, but also exciting as a business for good. The slow motion pandemic, the climate crisis, is reaching again a new peak in awareness. So last week, the International Panel for Climate Change leaked the first part of its so-called Assessment Report 6, AR6. AR5, which was published in 2014, as you may know, served as the basis for the Paris Climate Accord of 2015. And AR6, which was just leaked last week, as I told you, has a much more apocalyptic tone. I don't want to be too depressed, but what becomes very clear now out of science, that is, even when we do get to the 1.5 degrees increase, it will leave us with irreversible changes. It's therefore now or never, according to the IPCC. So who are the prime actors to really act in this? Governments are there to facilitate, but at the end of the day, it is you from the business community and the farmers who have to make the difference. In your supply chain, you have to do the real work, walk the talk. It's people like us who need to make the change happen. So investments in a healthy global food system and in climate resilience are now the drivers of the overall transition to circular and regenerative economies. Momentum has never been so high as it is now. And business leaders in the globe currently are advocating stakeholder engagement more and more over the pure shareholder-driven value models. And that is good news. So what is our role in this agenda? So Elsa, you're going to share some slides right now. Yes, thank you. So we, Solidaridad, we work on sustainable markets. Sustainable markets as the necessary power from civil society to balance out good governance from the public sector and also ESG from the private sector. As an independent yet committed view from society, we want to ensure that this market transformation is occurring. So we consider ourselves not as a watchdog barking from the sideline, nor are we the lapdog executing what individual companies want. We see ourselves rather as a guide dog. With specialized staff all over the globe, we can help you and supply chain partners showing the way forwards towards genuine sustainability. And we have quite a track record in it. So we are now 52 years of existence, close to 1,000 staff with operations in over 40 countries, as you can see. So we started as a faith-based organization for the people in Latin America, hence the name Solidaridad. And we took the decision to build a global civil society organization truly bottom up. We started planning in 2007 and became effective in 2010. And then our network organization was born. We believe this is the future also of civil society organizations with strong leadership in the region with an interconnected one mission, one brand, one strategy, and also following the norm, the operational norm of locality. We both work on solutions in local markets with a series of commodities where we're really good at, as well as global markets. So traditional commodities, export-oriented, and also local food supply chains with regional communities are in there. So that is the essence of who we are. Here you can see exactly in which countries we operate, and we are really focused on building partnerships. So partnerships with many corporates already over 20 years, operational, tactical, and also strategic. Now we move to our new strategy, 21-25. We call it Reclaiming Sustainability, because we really think that the world of sustainability itself also needs to change. We must receive a new copy of our plan. You must have received it. So what is the title? We have two reasons why we chose this title. One is the core problems of the world, despite all our efforts, continue to exist. And we have sustained poverty for over 450 million smallholder farmers in the world, which equals 1.7 billion inhabitants. We have 1.2 billion people working in informal economies and at least 1 billion in vulnerable and poor jobs. So together, this makes half of the globe's population. Inequality grows. It's now 23 of the wealthiest individuals on the globe who own the same capital as the poorer 50% of the world. Whilst this number was 236 in 2007. That's a significant change of further growth in equality. And ecosystems are collapsing. Over 1 million species are on the verge of extinction, and the global warming will bring hundreds of millions of climate refugees, shows also this latest report of IPCC. So the second reason why we chose Reclaim Sustainability is because we also see that our market-based solutions have created a jungle of sustainability labels and initiatives. Are they truly delivering on the problem of poverty, inequality, and ecosystem collapse, or is it a greenwash? So the essence of the message is under severe threat, losing genuine sustainability. And my open question to you today is, can we together create partnerships with you from the private sector to create truly transformative business for good that delivers on prosperity, inclusivity, and production in balance with nature? Which brings me to, I would say, the essence of our new strategy, our theory of change, which is our DNA. It's all about building sustainable and inclusive supply chains. We have 50 years experience in that. And very importantly so, it's all about farmers first. When I say farmers first, I also mean miners and workers. So from a farmers first perspective, working in sustainable supply chains, the farmer, she, and sometimes also he, faces 4 levels of intervention. The first level is what we call good practice. It's all about training farmers, miners, and workers to become really excellent producers in all this. And the second layer of intervention is what we call supportive business systems. So supportive business systems is primarily the move from good agricultural practices to good management practices. Can we ensure well-trained farmers in finance, access to finance, create new business models, build yourself a way forward into the supply chain? The third layer of intervention is the enabling policy environment. With governments and companies, build a smart mix between voluntary and mandatory rules. And lastly, but most importantly also, is the market uptake. Can we convince brands, retailers, and consumers to provide a genuine sustainable consumption pattern? Choose for genuine sustainable products. So that is the essence of our theory of change. I would like to finish my opening by showing you quickly our base strategy. Our base strategy is a mixture between sector transformation, our pyramid of change, where all our experience comes together. We have ourselves been working with first movers, consumer labels, then saw corporate social responsibility coming up in the 90s. And then we saw the buildup of roundtables, sector initiatives pre-competitively at the start of the millennium. Those first three layers are all about voluntary systems, and we see it's not enough. We have reached impact, but not a systemic change. That's why we move to the fourth level, where we hope that in a combination with mandatory principles and voluntary standards, we can build new agreements and new impact, bring the operations to speed at scale. On the other hand, we also have our innovation house. It starts now on thinking which themes we feel are becoming very prominent for the years to come. The foundations of it, we call it fair data. It's a fair trade 2.0. Can we build also a difference in the data economy? The largest commodity on earth by far nowadays is data. Can we create a fair value, a fair price for farm data as a message beyond certification, as an alternative to traditional programs? The roof is about Solidaridad sustainability definition. We work on a broad flagship report on the status of smallholder farmers. We also work on fair food systems, fair labor practices, and fair ownership models. I encourage you to follow our innovations online or elsewhere. So having said all this, I'm pleased to introduce you to one of my finest staff around the globe. They will tell you how we make the actual change that matters. So back to you, Elsa. Thank you.
Welcome back. It was a hard breakup for some of you, I can tell. You were still in the middle of a good conversation. But unfortunately, time is not on our side. So we have only 5 more minutes before the end of this meeting. But I hope you had a good travel around the world and you enjoyed these sessions. I've hopped into a few of them and saw interesting discussions going on. And we already heard some people from the morning session who said, well, it would be great to have a more elaborate session about some of these topics. So we indeed may organize that. As a closing, I would like to ask all of you to go to the chat and answer one question for me. And this is, what is the main takeaway that you have from the breakout session? What is there one thing that sticks with you? So please put your answer in the chat. One thing you have learned, one thing you will remember from the breakout session. Give your comments in the chat now. I'm looking forward to them. Strong need for effective and timely cooperation. Yes, thank you, Camilla. That's a good one. A diversity of actors, that's what we hope and that what we need indeed to discuss sustainability. Nice takeaway. Just anything, maybe it may be a small thing, maybe a big thing, one thing you take with you from the breakout session. Put it in the chat. We're looking for, we wish we could all have you on the mic, but I'm afraid that would take too much time. So, why smallholder palm oil production is expanding in Southeast Asia. Yeah, palm oil, highly debated crop in sustainability, but at least someone has a takeaway from that. Anyone else who can share a takeaway from the session? Would like to see. I couldn't join all the sessions, so we like to hear from you. If you have something, share it in the chat. Hearing the voices from farmers. Well, that is also what we wanted to bring. So thank you. Keep sharing your one takeaway from the breakout session in the chat. But we need to end this meeting soon. We were very happy that you are here. I mean, we hope we planted a little seed of the Solidaridad strategy in your mind, and that it will grow to bear fruits in the coming years, and that we will continue to be able to work with you on a more sustainable and fair future. So thank you for joining. I would like now to give the floor to Jeroen Douglas for some closing words. Jeroen, take it away.
So thank you very much, Elsa, and thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of you being here, carving out some time from your agenda, trying to mobilize a business to be a force for good, right? And as long as we spend the money on what matters most for a sustainable future, we are building a business as a force for good. And I truly believe that we are facing a tipping point whereby business understands that a successful company is about 3 equal pillars: profitability, of course, continuity, but also sustainability. Genuine sustainability that really makes a global market also work for that other half of the population to whom the promise of globalization did not deliver yet. You have heard our voices from the countries on oil palm in Indonesia and the need to raise the floor and include smallholder farmers, on cocoa in West Africa and our rural service centers that deliver our one-stop shop solutions, favoring responsible practices, on coffee in Colombia and beyond, working on creative climate resilient communities, on the Brazilian Amazon and our innovations on forestry, livestock, cocoa, to deliver on restoration and avoid the deforestation. It is through these concrete implementations that we, together with yourselves, wish to realize changes on the ground with measurable results and also, most importantly, with scaling opportunities. Ultimately, we need to bring our efforts to speed at scale. Yes, this is the decade of change. No more talk, we need to walk. Let's do this together, create good partnerships and invest in the business as a force for good. Let's seize the moment. Thank you so much for your attention and have a good continuation of your day.
Thank you all.